just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Late Late Horror Show. What is going on? I am here and Ted is there. Where is he at? He's over there.
I'm over here.
Yeah.
When I'm not there for you, I'm here for you. When I'm not here for you, I'm there for you.
Yeah, this is we've had kind of a
week we're gonna do this nonsense.
Last week we're gonna do this video like this. Yeah, we've had actually kind of a little vacation here. It's a couple months just about, and
It's been bullshit. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we're gonna get back to it, and we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna talk. One of the better Hammer movies that I have seen, believe it or not, The Curse of the Werewolf.
Yes, 1961.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Terrence Fisher, Oliver Reed's first starring role. Even to his dying day, said this was probably his best movie. This is the one that he would want people to remember him for. Forget
really?
The Devils, which I think is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's this one, and he's only in about half of it, but he just owns this movie.
I can see it. Well, yeah. This movie's about an hour and a half, and there's kind of a quarter of a story at the beginning, and then a little bit takes place in the middle, and then kind of 3/4 of the movie, or a little bit less, is with the character of Leon, which because he's the werewolf, and if you call it that, because you really don't get that spoilers. You don't really get that, right? I'm spoiling a 1961 movie.
Werewolf heavy.
No, not until the very end.
Right.
And I can't wait to talk to you a little bit about that, because I will emphasize that I love this movie. And this movie is one of the better Hammer movies that I've ever watched. Twins of Evil is fantastic. But I love The Curse of the Werewolf.
Like that one.
But there's a lot of things that I like about it, but there's some things I'd like to talk about, like at the very ending of the movie. You probably know just from me saying that, but when we get to it, we'll get to it. But yeah, no, Leon, when he first came on the scene, and we'll start the movie off and get it going. But even when Leon came on the scene, I looked at him, I went, how is this going to play out? Because he looks like he's just there for looks. You know what I mean? But then you come to find out that Oliver Reed, Leon, he's a good actor. He plays the role great. So, but anyways, we'll get to the beginning, and I'll let Ted kind of go in a little synopsis like we always do with the movies. And go ahead, yeah.
Takes place in 1700s Spain. Now they built all these sets. When you see the beginning, when you see the beggar walking into the town, which is deserted.
The beggar.
They had actually built those sets. Hammer did. They were going to do a Spanish Inquisition film called The Rape of Sabina, but then the Catholic Decency League got involved and threatened to sue or boycott or whatever they do.
No.
You can't portray any kind of history with the Catholics, So that wrapped.
Did that stuff really go on back then, Ted?
What, the Inquisition?
The rapes. Whatever. Go on. I'm.
Do you know how many?
No, I know.
They're responsible for.
Right. That's why I was kind of making. Well,
what? Minor general.
Not joking, but kind of. Because you said that, it's like that's kind of, that is history. That's what happened. But anyways, go on.
But we sweep that under the rug. They don't want to talk about that. And,
yeah.
So this beggar, he comes into town. It's
Richard Wordsworth.
Oh, I tell you what, I don't even remember his name. Good for you. You're doing your homework.
Richard Wordsworth, the beggar, and he was a great beggar.
He goes in the tavern, and that's where everybody seems to be. And he's asking, it's not Sunday. Why is there nobody in the streets? And they mention.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
We'll get to that. That tavern there, doesn't it look familiar? Did it catch your eye as another place that Hammer filmed before?
Used, I think, in one of the Dracula movies. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, because I watched that scene when they came into the tavern, when the beggar came in, and I'm like,
I think it was used in the first Dracula.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, you know what? this is awful familiar, and I do remember this in another movie. So,
Well, they kept these things. They would reuse. A lot of times they would shoot two movies, one after the other, and they would use the same sets. So you could watch a film like Rasputin the Mad Monk, which isn't really a horror film. It's more of like a thriller. Christopher Lee's really good in it, but they also
it's a fairy tale.
They also filmed Plague of the Zombies at either the same time or right after, and they use the same sets. I believe those are the two films.
Okay.
But they do that frequently. Or there's that house where you always see that stone gargoyle outside.
Right.
It's in Rocky Horror Picture Show when they knock off at the beginning. They use that in about 17 of their movies. So, see a mansion in any of these old 70s, 60s, 70s. I always look for the gargoyle.
Right. Yeah. I think we mentioned that before.
Even behind Bray Studios, where they filmed most of these films, the studio owned that whole big forest back there, and that's where they filmed all the forest scenes. Like they had that one road that went down there, and anytime you see a wagon or horses going down a trail, it's always the same one.
Oh, that's awesome. That's the way you do it.
Points.
Buy some land. You always need forests in some of these movies, but
all the forest scenes and all those Hammer movies, it's all the same forest.
If I'm not looking right at the camera, you guys, Ted is right over there on the monitor, so that's where I'm looking at him. Just so it's a little personal here. But this first part, I'll let you get back to it here, Ted. But this first part with the beggar is kind of like I was talking, it's kind of the first part of this movie.
A little prologue.
Yeah, and I even started to think, and we'll get into it a little bit, he's the werewolf. But, it didn't end up turning out that way. But, kind of the first fourth of this movie is the beggar and is the servant girl, which we'll get into. And, again, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
Oh, no problem. I'm just having physical difficulties here. There we go. And so the beggar goes to the tavern. Hey, the streets are deserted. It's not a Sunday. What's going on? And they mention that it's the Marquis's wedding day. And
what an asshole!
Have gone to pay for his lavish feast up there. And if you expect a handout from us, you're not going to get it. If you want something, go up there and ask, which he does.
And they must have. Well, I don't know if the tavern gentlemen down there, if you want to call them that, the drunkards, which I loved all the actors in there too. I mean, Hammer does have that feel to their movies, and this one, it's good to have a great story, a great movie to go along with these actors in Hammer movies. You're going to tell me, go to hell, but they're all great. But
it's loosely based on a book, the Werewolf of Paris, which is, I think even the original Wolfman was loosely based on that as well. But they're very removed from the book. The book's kind of dry, and it's not. It's probably a little bit more dry than even reading Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is kind of dry.
Huh. Interesting.
It's my opinion. I still like the book, but it is a little dry.
But they send him up to that to the Marquis's house where the lavish wedding is going, and you continue to talk. But what's that?
Don't you love when he knocks and the guard opens the door and he's just like, "Get out of here, you fool!" Before he sees you, he's like trying to warn him, "Get out of here."
Well, because right before that, they kind of show the Marquis and his wife, who's this pretty girl, sit next to him, and the Marquis.
Better female to have in the lead role than the one that we got, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think either or. I mean, there was something about the girl. What was her name? Christina, right?
It's always Christina.
Yeah, she had certain features, but she was very pretty. I have nothing. What's that?
She had some big teeth.
Okay, I thought you were going to bring that up, but I thought she was pretty. But yeah, I could see what you're saying there. But yeah, I mean, her sitting next to the Marquis, it's your typical older gentleman who's a piece of shit. But because he's got the wealth and is who he is, he's got this young, beautiful femme fatale next to him, and
She doesn't look like she's in love with him, so it must have been some kind of arranged thing like it was back then.
Yeah, probably. Because what happens is the cook.
To embarrass the cook.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The cook brings the that goose, and she kind of goes ooh, and doesn't like it. Yeah, I don't know, man, but
the big man and throws it on the ground. Now pick it up. It's like, well, what the hell did you throw it on the ground for?
Right? Yeah. The hell are you doing, flopping that down on the ground?
Just kind of like a vulgar display of power, I guess, to belittle people. And, all these people in their powdered wigs, they all have to laugh. Whether they think he's a dick or not, they have to go along with the joke.
Yeah.
And that's when the beggar kind of shows up, and they bring him in, and, oh, well, if you want something to eat, here's a little chicken leg. Give us a little dance.
That was a little chicken leg, too, man.
Oh, God, yeah. You give the dog something better than that. And he's waving his stinky ass cape all over the place, fouling up the whole room. And finally, the Marchesa, his wife.
Yeah.
It's like, leave him alone. Let him be. And he's
right.
like, oh, but I'm as a pet. And he offers to give her
as a pet.
And I think he does it. Sells himself for like 10 potatoes or something like that. 10 potatoes.
Yeah, 10 potatoes. Yeah, and she's yeah, no, that was kind of ridiculous, but
So he's making them dance, and they're giving him wine, and he's getting looped and doing his little dance, and what'll happen finally is, the rest of you have a good time. Me and the Marquesa are going to our bedchamber, and everything was going fine. He would have been fine. He could have, no problem. But the stupid drunken fool's like, have a good night. And
yeah, and that's what got him. He said that, and it basically ends up throwing him in the dungeon and saying, "Here, put him in, whatever." He's got his lackeys. Even though he's not like a king or nothing like that, but he's got like soldiers or he's got a jail down in his.
He would have been he was landed and titled. So
I guess that gives them power, and I guess I don't know.
Yeah. He's not a king, but I guess you could probably compare him to like a governor.
A governor.
Territories. Yeah. When he says that, he takes offense and has him jailed in the dungeon below, and basically I think they just forget about him, forget he's there.
Yeah, because you end up seeing him growing the long beard, and he's got like. And this is what tricked me. Because he's got hair kind of growing all over his body in different places. And it makes you wonder who he is. I thought he was the werewolf at the beginning. I'm like, it's weird to have the beggar be the werewolf, but I don't think it was that. And
no, he's not a werewolf. But, funny you should say that, because it is supposed to be the original idea. But his only human contact is the jailer's niece, who's deaf and mute, and
she can't speak.
I'll jump ahead just a tiny little bit, but she ends up getting locked in the cell with him for a moment.
A little later on in the movie,
and he rapes her, and the idea was they just didn't like the idea of the censors just didn't like the idea of AV, because they have to like preview the script first too. They read the script first. Yeah. And they didn't like the idea.
How dare they?
A bestial kind of creature, raping a woman. So that had to go. So they made him wolf-ish, like you said.
Okay, I got you.
Covered in hair, but he's not a werewolf per se.
So technically, he's the one. The beggar is the one who kind of impregnates her without her consent, and
that's called.
I was for the censors. I was being polite.
Unless you're watching Pink Flamingos, I don't know what that was.
Oh my God! But yeah, so the beggar is kind of a werewolf, I guess. Supposedly, that's how he impregnates her and kind of sends the curse with her, right?
Right. The reason she gets locked in with him.
Oh, I'm the curse.
Is simply because she's just cleaning, and
she runs into the Marquis, who's older,
15, 20 years later,
and his wife's dead.
I don't know how he could have survived in that jail cell with all that filth and no food for 50 years.
Right.
And she's cleaning up, and the Marquis, who's seems a bit older than what he should be.
Right.
He's this, doddering old man with a night hat on, and he tries to put the moves on her, and she rebukes him.
Looks like Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's exactly what I think of.
Yeah.
I think she can draw some blood, maybe a scratch or something, and he has her thrown in the dungeon. It's only supposed to be just for like a night.
Not a scratch. He bit her, Ted.
Well, is that here or is that when she escapes? No.
Oh, you're...
She
Oh,
bit
yeah.
her.
Yeah. When she escapes, yeah, something else happens.
And she gets locked up, just for the night. But in that night, she gets locked up with this guy, this wolf man. And even though we don't show it, we damn well know what happens.
Yep. Yeah.
When she does finally, get out, her clothes are a bit ripped up, and she ain't looking so hot.
Kind of sad, though.
Zoom on him. He's licking his chops.
Yeah, kind of sad, though, because she was a little girl growing up, and she always fed him. She always gave him, like, the meat and stuff like that and fed him. Oh. And so you think there was kind of a bond there, but I guess he's a wild man. So, when she was a woman and gets thrown in the cage, he's like, okay, I'm going to, do what I got to do.
Yeah. He had his way with her. Mm-hmm.
So she ends up escaping.
Right. She is let out. It was kind of like a just for the night kind of thing. Oh, and the Wolfman, he's dead. I guess after that just exerted too much energy.
He passed on the curse, and now let's get rid of him. So yeah.
Right. So yeah, she escapes the jail. I mean, doesn't escape, but she's released and is sent up to the Marquis. Hey, he wants to see you, and he's hell bent on having his way with her too. I mean, and this poor girl, she's had a rough night. She had enough.
Yeah, poor girl.
I don't know.
All sweaty. Her bosom is all sweaty, Ted.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know, and they had problems with that kind of stuff, especially if they had blood splattered on them. The censors didn't like to see it. In the UK, they don't get so hung up about sex or nudity.
Right.
They don't really care about that, or language.
Yeah.
Violence they've had more of an issue with. And anytime that there's violence even remotely mixed with anything sexual, like I said, blood spattered on breasts and things like that, they always had a problem with that. And
that's a shame,
They would always give Hammer a hard time. Other movies might pass, but they always gave Hammer a hard time, and the producers would wine and dine the people on the ratings board all the time, try to keep them in the good graces. They would do every trick they could to get their movies out the way that they wanted them.
Yeah.
But they had a go of it. They definitely had a hard go of it. And many of the films weren't what they wanted them to be. And even this film, you watch this film, this is pretty damn tame. But this was a heavily censored movie. Several minutes were cut out for the UK.
Well, it's 1961. Yeah.
More were cut out into the States. They cut more stuff out.
Yeah.
And this wasn't seen uncut until I think the 1990s.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, because throughout the 50s and early 60s, I mean, it was pretty tame. The movie-going experience, you know what I mean? It was pretty tame. So it really didn't get going until the 70s, right? I mean, that's when...
70s, more realistic, a little bit a loosening up.
Yeah.
Maybe here more in the States than in other countries, because still some of our movies would go over to UK or Europe and be censored.
Right.
Or banned outright.
Yep.
The Brits had their, video nasties.
Right.
Movies that, absolutely not. And some of them rightfully so, but most of them, but still, the whole idea of censorship and things like that.
Unbelievable.
So he ends up killing the Marquis. She's got I don't know what those things are called. Like the thing you put a torch in or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a very pointed candle holder or whatever. I don't know what you call it. But.
Yeah, pointed, and she stabs him a few times. And in the making of stuff on the new Blu-ray that just came out from Scream Factory, which if you're a fan, I really recommend it. It's loaded with some new extras, and it's really nice.
Ted would show you, but he's got it up in his collection.
Sleeping. But the cover, there's a new cover drawing. There's with the original artwork on the flip side, and a lot of nice extras. It's really stellar.
Beautiful.
And well, because a lot of times when Scream Factory puts out a Hammer film or other films, they have like a newly commissioned artwork on the outside. But if you take the cover out and flip it, it's the original artwork. And a lot of times I don't care for the new artwork. A lot of times I frequently think it's bad, but this one's pretty good. Okay. But I still always go with the OG. And
well, Ted gives a big thumbs up for the new artwork.
This one's pretty darn good. It's a collector's edition. Not all the Hammer films are collector's editions, but they had access to the original negative, and they rescanned it very nicely.
Also,
so never looked. And in some of the makings of this, the guy that's playing the Marquis, he just had these little blood packets in his back, and she was supposed to, kind of know where they are and stab those because that was sharp.
Yeah.
And she was just scared to death that she was actually hurting him.
Damn, if you miss though, you gotta.
Yeah. But she kind of, she had to do it kind of hard, and she probably could have hurt him.
Oh, she whacks him, man. She's doing, and even when she had it behind her back, I'm like going, she's gonna kill him with that. I mean, it looked weird. Like, what a murder weapon. I would say, as murder weapons go in movies and stuff like that, this is kind of a little bit different,
so something different, something a little bit pointed stick.
I give props to it's a prop too.
It is. And so she escapes the I guess the castle, the manor, whatever it is.
Thank God. And spends some months in the forest.
Yeah, I guess she couldn't find her way out of the forest, and finally decided to take a nap.
Are you being funny? She couldn't find her way out.
Take a nap, couldn't find her way out.
And evidently,
yeah, she
survived fine.
Takes a nap in the river. She's laying face down.
Oh, Ted. Well, she
and I got really tired.
She teleported to the future and watched some Bear Grylls survival shows, and then went back in time. But yeah, no, she's face down in
this movie. I don't get why is she laying face down in the river.
I don't know. And how long could she actually have stayed face down in the river?
Because even movies that I love, I will still point out the little flaws. And
good for you.
When it gets, but warts and all, I love them.
Yeah. But Alfredo.
Alfredo.
Played by Clifford Evans.
Something like that.
Okay.
Don Cornelius.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
No. Go ahead. It's that's why I can't wait till you're here next to me, because with Skype, when you start talking, if you start talking a couple seconds before me, I can't hear half of what you're saying. So that's just, I guess, Skype technology. Maybe we should be doing Zoom. But anyway, so
app on my phone too, because I had to use it for my kids' school.
Well, I'll tell you what. After all this is over with, I don't want to hear anything to do with Zoom from this point forward. But anyways, it goes to tell you how sick and tired I am of this whole thing. But anyways, Clifford Evans played Alfredo in the movie. So I'm just pointing that out because there's a lot of Clifford Evans fans out there.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
I wish people could see. I don't know how good this is showing up on the video, but I got my Dracula's Pub sign glowing, and it's glowing like a tan kind of look, but on the video it's looking white. So
we gotta make a bar for him,
yeah,
and put some bottles there, some absinthe. And
let this dude be the bartender,
and do little skits. Like we could sidle up to the bar and talk to whatever his name is. I forgot our clown's name. Yeah,
I forget what we. Yeah, well, we had a couple people name him over the years, but I can't remember. He's just there. Anyway,
okay. I think he called us some names over the years too.
Yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, so Alfredo kind of picks her out of the water face down and kind of takes her home to. I'm not sure what the town is.
He's not a doctor, but he's kind of like a scholar.
Yeah,
he looks like the guy who just inherited his wealth and just gets to enjoy. being a scholar, learning things, or being
Right.
artful, whatever.
Because he's got this pipe that he smokes, and
Holy,
it's very ornate. Like you got to see it. I can't even explain it, but
to see what it's carved with, because
Yeah.
it looks like there's some figures on there or something.
right. I wish we could get an HD image of that pipe, but I can't quite make out what it is and what's on that pipe. But you could tell it's very ornate, and
Yes.
it's white too, like kind of like
I-
ivory or something like that. So
Yeah, I bet Hammer went all out. It's ivory.
yeah, it's a bar of soap.
No, they got it from some poachers.
Probably, but yeah, no, he's just like you said, kind of a scholar. He's got his pipe there. He later on you find out he knows how to take bullets out of children's legs, and he's really he's just constantly studying, and the lady that's there, I guess, is a servant.
His housekeeper, but almost.
I thought that was his wife.
But yeah.
I thought they made love every now and then.
It's almost like she serves almost a motherly kind of role.
Oh,
She does dote on him.
maybe he gets into that. I mean,
who knows? But yeah, he's a bachelor. He brings her home. She nurses her back to health and mentions that she's pregnant.
breastfeeds her.
Well, not yet.
Oh, nurses her. Okay, I get you.
The drama of the film comes because the baby is due soon and it's almost Christmas. And this is actually werewolf lore. It might even be involved in vampire lore too, but I think it's werewolf lore.
Definitely werewolf lore.
That would dare to be born on Christmas Day will be cursed.
And goddamn, he was born on Christmas Day. How did she get that down so precise?
I don't know. So the curse from father to son, it passes through. Even when they try to, and they're going to raise, he's going to raise him as his own. For a while, he raises him as an uncle.
Yeah.
But then later on in the film,
Calls him Pop.
calls him father.
Or
Remember
father.
the baptism scene? They take him to go get baptized.
Yes.
And water started.
Well, you want to jump ahead really quick, or you want to talk about the?
Well, the baptism scene was kind of next, but I guess
okay.
I'd like that when she's.
Well, yeah,
about
I guess we skipped through it. Yeah. I'm just thinking real quick, but yeah, she ends up dying when she gives birth. So that's kind of an important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of an important part of this. I mean, she croaked.
Did you notice
after.
the stuff that was around her on the bed that midwife put there? There's like rabbit's foots or something. I think it's a goddamn monkey's paw. I mean, there's actually, it looks like a little shriveled hand.
Yeah.
So I got, it's like, wow, all these talismans, and they did nothing.
Right? Yeah. Didn't do a single thing. You would have thought that it would have done something for her, but no. Maybe it killed her. Maybe they got rid of the woman on purpose. I don't know. But yeah. Then we hop over to the baptism scene, and a lot of strange kookiness happens there. Right?
This happens when I have to walk into a church.
Right? Yeah.
The
Me.
whole walk in the basin starts to ripple.
It bubbles up for me. It like bubbles and boil, and they go, "What? How hot is that?" And then it stops.
Yes, and that's again the curse.
Oh, okay.
So the child is baptized, but it's like, it's not going to take.
And as they're doing it, though, you're seeing weird, like something lights up, like and the clouds come over, and
Lightning.
and they get a close up of their faces, like they're in like, and then all of a sudden, everything's the normal, and he finishes baptizing, Espedes and Disimosin, whatever he says. Then I actually
Bring it back about 5 years when he's nice and juicy, and whatever the Catholic priests do.
Oh, Ted. So he gets baptized, and they take him home.
Bring him back when he's nice and juicy.
And the next thing they do is, well, the next thing he's like, how old do you think he is here? 10?
It does fast forward a little bit to when he's a child, maybe about 10. Before we see him as a child, we're introduced to Pepe, the hunter. Or he's not a hunter. He's there's a lot of sheep farmers.
Yeah.
And tired.
He's the town hunter or whatever you call that. I don't know.
He's hired by them to keep the sheep safe. Keep the sheep safe at.
It's your job to keep the wolves away.
Yeah, keep the wolves away from the sheep. And it turns out sheep have been being found with their throats torn open. And Pepe hasn't done anything about it. The sheep herders are getting upset. He's blaming their dogs for doing it. And, it's a whole big mystery now. But we are suspecting, when we meet the little boy, that, hey, Curse of the Werewolf, maybe this plays into it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the boy, oh God, who's the boy in this? Justin Walters. Justin Walters plays young Leon, and he's such a cute kid. When I was watching, what's that?
Because he got a lot of fans too.
Oh, tons of fandom. He went on to become a constable of his town over there in Bulgaria. I was hoping you'd spit water out. I go, but no, he was a very cute kid, and I really liked him in this movie. It was
You kid.
When he kept saying like Uncle, hello Uncle, I'm having bad dreams, Uncle, and every sentence was ended with Uncle.
I dreamed I was tasting blood.
It was warm.
And I wanted to keep drinking it.
Uncle. Yeah, but yes. So you're thinking that the boy's the one going out and killing the sheep. Well, it really is him.
I mean, but the rest of the folk don't know. So, Pepe's out at night. It's a full moon. He hears some, rustling and sheep. Pepe takes aim and shoots, and finds blood on the ground, but no body. So he can't say I killed it, but he says, I put a bullet in it. Next scene, we're in the house, and
young Leon's sprawled out on a bed, and Alfredo.
This is when bullets were like just the little metal balls.
Balls, yeah.
And he digs it out of his leg.
Alfredo.
Yes, and when you see it, I mean, it's the size of a jawbreaker. I mean,
hell yeah!
It would have ripped your leg apart.
2 times bigger than a marble. Yeah, I mean, it's a big sucker, man. But yeah, it's up. Excuse me. I guess I should say that. Excuse me again. But even at home, Ted's yawning.
I know. In today too, man, because I worked the last couple of days, and I mean, I've got a blast left, but God, it felt like I worked it off. So
yeah, we'll talk about that after. Anyway, but yeah, he digs that out of him, and they kind of figure out that maybe this is it. Especially the servant. The servant kind of takes that bullet. And ends up taking it to that, what's his name's house, the guy who's shot him.
Yeah, she recognizes it as one of Pepe's, because a lot of times back then everybody kind of made their own.
Yeah, that was Pepe's bullet. He made it himself.
Some people use different metals and things to make their own. And
he was a silversmith.
I guess.
Yeah,
so she takes it to, like Pepe, he's at the saloon throwing back. Well, actually, he and his wife run it. But he's there, he's throwing back her drinks, and I know I shot it, and, it's my ass on the line because now I can't find the damn thing.
Right.
And you're right, Teresa, the housekeeper, takes the bullet to the wife. And just to kind of play it off, I found it, it looked like one of his.
Right, and she's like, oh, thank God, I found it, because he was really looking, Pepe was looking for it, and he didn't want to be in, now we can say he missed, you know what I mean? He didn't really shoot nothing, whatever. But you know what? Yep. There was one thing in this movie, Ted, the servant, he called her aunt, because she really had a love for the servant girl who couldn't speak. When she came in, she just had this like a motherly love, or maybe something a little bit deeper. I don't know if you if you saw how she looked at her in her bosom. I kind of
love her.
I think because later on when they bring Christina into her house. And ask her to sit down. Notice it next time you watch it. I don't want to ruin the movie for you every time you see the scene now. But when he Now that he puts Christina down, she unwraps her, and she looks right down at her cleavage in like this weird kind of lesbianic way. And I'm like looking at when she's doing this, and I'm going, and it's not that I just didn't make this up in my head. I'm looking at her going, what's going on? She's really taken interest in these two females from what I've seen in this movie.
You've analyzed this movie as one would analyze Moby Dick. you find
It's
left and right.
Ted, it's no joke though, people. I really thought this way when I saw how she acted towards these two, because
Hammer didn't do that till the 70s.
I know. Well, you know, it had to start somewhere, Ted.
I guess.
But anyways, getting on. Alfredo ends up. You know, they know that this. You know, the little boy's young Leon's a werewolf now, and
Right.
so they put big bars up on the windows.
He doesn't realize it. He's associating it with dreams. He's like, he has a dream.
Well, yeah, young Leon is, yeah.
Right, that he's, running through the woods and blood. And he mentions that Pepe took him out trying to teach him to shoot. And I think they shot a squirrel. And he picked up the squirrel and he tasted the blood. And it tasted good and warm. And he wanted to, like I said, I wanted to keep tasting it. And
Uncle.
That's where I guess we could say his uncle is realizing, maybe there's a little something to this curse that, my crazy housekeeper was talking about. So he goes to seek out the advice of the
new life and new civilizations.
The priest.
Yes.
And
who's
actually,
kind of
the priest does have an interesting answer.
Yeah. Go ahead. He does. Yeah.
That it's not. He tells him about the curses, but his response is actually kind of interesting in that it's a demon that maybe someone the demon from, say, like the mother, it passes out, doesn't have a body to go into, so it went into the body of the child, and that's what's doing it. There's no such thing as actual werewolves. It's just it's these demons. So that was kind of a different sort of.
And didn't they bring in they bring in Damian Karras too, right? He had a little role in this.
Right after he
tried to exercise
to the Don, he says, and by the way, you must bring me the child right away.
Yeah.
Bring the child to my private chambers.
Okay, let's not talk about the priesthood any longer.
The Family Guy on Sunday night can make fun of it, but
no, no, you're right.
Catholic priest joke, but then I can't.
No, I know. YouTube's getting really strange lately, but anyways.
What, they're getting strange about telling the truth?
Oh yeah, you can't tell the truth on YouTube no more. That's for sure. But
those videos.
Yeah. Anyways, yes. So the father, the priest, is kind of in on what's going on. Kind of. He's like, for some reason, he's the Van Helsing.
Well, I mean, he goes to and asks questions. Kind of like those in general sort of questions. But they've. But he also the.
You think he's been down this road before?
That will come into play later in the film. Is that the one thing that can stop this is love?
Right.
Like true love's kiss. But that actually will happen. That love can sort of soothe the savage beast. Not music in this case, but
yeah, it's an interesting, different take the way they do it in this movie. But yeah, it's I guess the same. Yeah, music soothes the savage beast, kind of in that same vein. I get it. It seemed a bit odd in the movie that's what, would cure him. But anyway.
Too late. I mean, it's not a cure. It's just...
it's like medication. You take a little bit of love when the full moon is out, and I'm fine. So...
Well, what sort of happens is when Oliver Reed enters the story and he's going to, it's a full moon, he actually goes through physical agony when he's changing it. It's some actually really good acting. And
but you don't get a big taste of that until the very end.
No.
Which sucks. But anyways.
But that's how much screen time did, Christopher Lee have as Frankenstein?
I know.
In the original.
Well, Frankenstein, a lot.
typical of monster movies back then. You know, they
I
saved those money shots for last. I mean, think of all the Godzilla. Even though I love Godzilla movies, all of them. You know, the original Japanese ones, not the American ones.
Yeah.
But you know, how much screen time does Godzilla usually have in those movies?
Right.
You have to watch, 15 minutes of exposition to get to some. All you want to see is those goddamn monsters fight each other.
Right.
And you got to wait 15 minutes to get there. So.
True that.
And that's usually the same in a lot of, not all, like not the Universal ones, the old Universal ones, but definitely, in the 50s and the 60s, you had to wait a while to see that monster.
Yeah, no, I get it. And
I would love to have seen more, but I think his acting and the emoting, the actual, the way he portrays the transformation, because we don't really get we get it visually, but the makeup is just so damn good.
Oh, at the very end, when you actually see...
Cost too much.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's become an image that when you think of the Hammer werewolf, of course you think of this, but instantly it's very identifiable. Like if you were to...
Probably my favorite werewolf makeup.
Really? Okay.
Really love the look. It's dog-like. It's a mixture of dog and human. It's not like a full-on transformation into a wolf where you're a dog and your bones are stretching out into a snout and things like that. It's what a man wolf would look like.
It's right in the middle of you had the werewolf in the 40s, and then you get like American Werewolf in London and stuff, and that's when you start getting the elongated snout, like you were talking about, and different creatures, like an actual creature. Yeah. This is like smack dab in the middle, where it's kind of like the old werewolf and kind of like trying to make it its own thing, but still on 2 feet, kind of. It's very interesting how they made it, and very awesome, and it didn't really need to show a whole lot of it because the storyline kept you going and kept you interested. I mean, that was one thing I really enjoyed about the movie, that this kept me interested. I didn't feel like dozing at all, where some of the Hammers can do that to you if you're a little tired. But
no.
But yeah, no, I mean, I loved it, and
good.
Oh no, Ted, this was a good one, and
top tier. It was their only werewolf movie. It was a good movie. Terrence Fisher, he's not a passionate filmmaker, but for these kinds of movies, he was always, he could get it.
Right.
He was good at shooting these types of films.
Yeah, and that's the director of the film, Terrence Fisher. So.
All of the best, almost all the best Hammer movies are directed by Terrence Fisher. Not all of them, but most.
Yeah.
Certainly the ones that most people would consider top tier, like I say, would be Terrence Fisher.
But getting back to the movie, I think the part we skipped right from him being a young Leon to the Leon for the rest of the movie, the older Leon.
Right, and the only thing that happened before we're introduced to the older Leon is now the whole idea of werewolf is entering the community, and Pepe takes his wife's silver cross and makes one lone silver bullet.
Yeah.
And the father puts bars on the window so that the next full moon he can't escape. And we do see Leon as a child. The last time we see Leon as a child, he's pulling bars, trying to get out. He's got some little fangs.
Right.
And, so presumably this is something that happens every full moon, and that's why they've kept him safe and kept him, or has it gone into remission in a way? I don't know, because when he becomes a man, like you said, he goes off, and I don't know that. It almost seemed
like that's what happened. He says something when they transition right to him being older and he was getting ready to leave, about love. We've taken care of you over all these years and given you the love that you needed. I believe that's what happened.
You're right. I missed that fact. You're right. They gave him the love, and their doting on him and genuine love for him is what kept the monster at bay.
Right.
And I guess, they can't stop him from going out trying to make his own way. This is the point where he's calling him father now. So I think that's also the same too, because I think that's another point that the priest made, is that, you know, you can give him love, but, you know, he's missing a mother's love, a father's love, and that's what he needs. So at that point, that's when they sort of take him under the, you know, as a son. They raise him as a son.
Yes.
So you're right. That I haven't watched the film for 10 days. So.
How dare you? I watched it last night. But yeah, no, he ends up going off and being his own man, but technically I think it's just 500 feet away down the street.
Next town over.
Yeah, I mean, very, very closely. Close enough to where you can get back and forth in a matter of hours, you know, so...
Yeah, presumably you could you know, run or take a coach.
But he ends up going to the next town, I guess, and
right. He gets a warm welcome when he gets there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Who is it? The Marquis Sinis.
It's not the Marquis. It's this town. There's
I thought he was another Marquis.
Don Gomez, and he runs a winery. And he must be the richest guy in town, I guess. But his daughter is with her fiance. Christina, yes, with her fiance, and they're kind of going by in the coach and splash them all with mud.
And what's the Yeah, isn't he a Marquis too?
No, he's
okay. I guess I'm wrong.
He would be comparable to Don Corleto. He probably doesn't run the town, but he's like the richest guy in town. You know, he's the Don.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't get the feeling that Don Corleto was the leader of he might be the leader of the community, but he's certainly not like the governor or anything like that.
Governor? Yeah. But he's got an arranged marriage with Christina, and her father is making her, you know, wed him.
Right.
And
he's the one who gives Leon the job in the winery.
Right.
Just, you know, filling up wine bottles, slapping labels on them.
Yeah, and the guy he works with is kind of a jokey, kind of heavier, husky kind of, funny guy, you know. And
all they did was name him Ted, and that had been me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Saturday night going to the brothel and dancing and drinking.
Yeah, he's not going to last long, but he is kind of that funny, you know, dancing, joking kind of, you know. Aha, let's go and have some good times there, Leon. Let's go make a love and a drink of wine. You know, that kind of guy and stuff. And
so they see Christina come back. She gets, you know, kind of dropped off early. She doesn't really care for this guy.
No, not at all.
Watching her out the window, and you could tell, man, you know, Leon is struck. And Jose is telling him, don't.
He's struck like a knife.
With a British accent.
La, la, la.
And they all have Spanish names and British accents.
Right.
And he's telling us like, oh, I see that look. Don't even think about it. But then she comes in. She comes into the wine cellar.
She had to see what the new fresh meat was.
Well, you know, she noticed him. They made eye contact when he got splashed. And she apologized. And you know, they got that little look. And you could tell. She
got that look. Call me pink and black. Call me taking a bath. That's all. I think I want you. What?
And, you know, they show them going out on like 2-3 dates with this fiance, and every time they go out, she's got a headache, and like, it's frightfully inconvenient. I was winning. You know, it must have been at some little gambling house or something.
I've got a headache.
Marry some stuffy ass guy like this.
I don't know.
I mean, wouldn't you rather be with Jose down in the wine cellar when he's making his, you know, making his paper dolls?
Ted, those were some good cutouts, man. They look like real women on the shadow.
I don't think I could have made them that good with an X-Acto knife.
Right? Or a tracing.
I mean, very pleasing to the eye. I don't know I mean, did they even have scissors back then? I mean, you know, I thought he used his teeth.
Yeah. Oh, my God. But, yeah, so there's that whole kind of thing going on, and you know, one day he gets dropped off with the carriage, and he says, go straight to bed, he tells Christina, and Christina runs back out to Leon, and you're like going, oh, holy crap, they're together.
Yes.
They're already in love. I don't know how much time has passed. Yeah, I don't know how much time has passed, but they, I would have liked to have seen their relationship blossom. I would have loved this to be a 2-hour movie.
This is, couldn't make 2-hour movies back then for Hammer. No.
I know, it's a joke.
Come on, you had to have double features.
But it's interesting that just like that, you cut from, and they're in love now. So, there's that whole thing going on, and
It has gone by, and everything's been okay. I'm not thinking it's months. I'm thinking maybe it's more like, a couple of weeks. I mean, they see each other every day.
Yeah.
She could sneak out at night every day. But I do like when Jose's like, oh, hey, tomorrow it's Saturday. It's payday. Dancing, drinking. Do you like loose women? I know.
Do you like loose, jiggly women?
Yeah, I like the jiggles.
Yeah.
I like the jiggles.
But yeah, I mean, so they're going to go out and have a good time. And they do end up going out. He needed a little persuading, Leon did.
Yeah, he's kind of a stick in the mud. I mean, he's in love with Christine.
He's in love.
She's engaged to be married to this guy. She doesn't love him, but, she's kind of she's, this was just how that was.
And that's kind of the relationship going on there a little bit, that he keeps, he wants her to run off with him. If you love me, you'll run off with him. But she keeps saying, my father would kill me. I got to. So I don't know if her plan was, I love you, but I need to still marry this guy. But that's kind of what his thought process at this point is, right?
It's asking her, he doesn't give up anything and she has to give up everything. That's kind of what it is. And
are you sticking up for her?
Yes, I am, because women back then were treated like dirt. So, more as property. So, I
Good
get
for you.
She has to give up everything.
Yeah.
Family, connections.
But isn't love
reputation, whatever reputation she's got, and he gets it all. He gets yeah, she might have love, but she loses everything else that was important. So, I get it. It's a hard decision to make.
Yeah.
But then we get away from that drama and we get to the brothel, which is really, that's, we're stampeding to the brothel scene.
Yes.
Which is where it's a full moon night, by the way, and Jose's drinking, dancing, having a real good time with.
Oh, he's living it up, man.
It's like that's him every Saturday. He's got his his Saturday bitch and
yeah.
He drinks, but
and
Leon,
he hooked Leon up with one.
Right, but he's like I said, he's being a stick in the mud, and
stick in the mud.
He's not feeling good. See that love isn't there. Now
love
it's the
is
full
in the air.
And this is where you see some really cool acting out of him. He's all broken out in sweat. He's shaking. The eyes are rolling up in the head. It's like he's fighting something. He's fighting some feeling he doesn't really understand.
And I think this actually won Oliver Reed the Academy Award for that year, right?
I don't think he won an Academy Award for this film, but damn it, he should have been in the running.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
He's done so many fine films.
Yeah.
And you haven't seen The Devils. Have you ever watched it, Dan?
I haven't seen The Devils.
You have got. I've got the most uncut version.
Is that a Hammer flick?
No, it's Ken Russell. It's more stylish with Linda Grave, and I know we were talking about it one time.
Got you. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I hooked you up with a copy. You just probably haven't watched it yet.
Is that the very controversial movie?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And he's phenomenal. He plays a priest in that film, based on a real character, and phenomenal film. I wish that could be out there. It's never been released uncut, completely uncut. I have the most complete version that there is. I got it from my uncle, and but hey, it looks good on my 50-inch TV, and I'll take it till I can get something better.
Right.
I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to give it to me.
But yeah, he
phenomenal in that film, and he's gone. He kind of drank himself. That's what he did. And,
that's what you said. Yeah, he died a little too soon. But
remember, his movie role was Gladiator. He was the I can't remember his name, but the one who taught Russell Crowe to be a gladiator and told him that you can gain your freedom. That was Oliver Reed's final film, 2000. He died shortly after.
Yeah, that's.
Remember that was him, but yeah, that was him.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so they're at the brothel and he's sweating. He's putting on this big performance. He's stricken, and his lady that's next to him says, "You
There's
go out."
another lady in there, another prostitute that's sort of eyeing him up. And I think she's getting the idea that maybe he doesn't like the girl that he's with, and maybe he would like her a little better. So when he goes outside for some air, she follows him out there, says, "Hey, I've got a room upstairs. Let's go." They go up there. Little ooh la la happens, and then he's going to want to take a little chomp.
Mm-hmm.
Because that moon's coming, and he ain't getting love. So
no love for him.
I think he pretty much rips her apart, and Jose goes out looking for him because the hooker that he hooked him up with, it's like, hey, where's my guy? He's like, I'll go outside and look for him. And unfortunately, Leon, we this happens off camera. We don't see the werewolf yet. Unfortunately, we see a little bit of a struggle, but Jose is killed. Actually, I picked up a drone.
Yeah.
Guy.
I wasn't expecting him to kill that violently and kill him, which was a shame. But he was just disposed of very quickly. But action starts picking up here.
You got no control.
No, right.
I always find. I mean, we've goofed about the. Would you rather be a vampire? Would you rather be a werewolf? And I always pick the werewolf. Because you only have to deal with it for like 1 or 2 nights a month.
Well, yeah, then you're ordinary man, and then but the rest, every single second of every day, you have the power of the vampire, and you never. So
you never really find any vampires.
You can have your 2 days a month. That are really what?
You never find any vampires that are just really truly happy.
Well, you know what?
Always miserable.
Ted, the media portrays it that way, but in real life, they really love the lifestyle. What?
Huh?
I mean, no, I understand what you're saying.
The real vampire.
I get what you're saying. It's a long, treacherous
guilt, and
not if you eat rabbits and willing slaves. Pets, I call them. I mean, they call them pets.
Wakes up naked and confused. He's just waiting. What the fuck? What did I do?
I'm naked.
So there's not the guilt of what he did because he has no memory of what he did. So
and doesn't he? After that, doesn't he run back home to father?
Yeah, he runs back home, and actually, you see the bars broken in. So, I mean, even though he doesn't really remember, everything's very hazy. It's like instinctively he knew where to go.
Yeah.
And
well, even at the very end, which we'll talk about, you get a glimpse of that too.
Yeah, and this is where it's kind of revealed to him finally what he is.
Scum of the earth. I mean, a werewolf.
A werewolf, and it's kind of the priest is there. Now his mother and father, I guess, are there, Teresa and he's just, no. And it's just really good acting. I mean, he's so believable. Acting in some of these films were sometimes very stiff.
Yeah, I get stiff sometimes myself.
And I understand that. That was a style back then. And for Hammer, for me, it's always been. I mean,
the women.
I love Peter Cushing. They had many beautiful women there, and I how some of them were very good actresses, but I also like how they didn't need to show everything for you to be, excited.
Of course.
I mean, they were really pretty just for what you saw. But what I like about Hammer, and I mean, apart from his really good acting here when he's finding out what's going on, it's just the authenticity. The sets always look really good.
Yeah.
I'm always transported.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, I mean,
when he finds out he's the vampire and he runs out of the house. I mean, it just looks like a real house. He's running down a dirt road. It just looks like a real place in Spain. And that's the way a lot of Hammer films are. Some are a little bit cheaper than others, but a lot of the gothic Hammer horrors just have a realism to them. The sets are really well done and lit well and shot well, and that's what I like about it. It always transports me. You know, there's no CGI, there's nothing fake. It looks like a real place.
No, yeah, 100%. It takes you back, kind of like the Full Moon movies do.
The Subspecies first one, yeah.
First one, yeah. It kind of exactly the same thing. You know, takes you right into that like Hungary feel, that the castles and everything that they used in their sets and stuff like that. But yeah,
on a good location,
right.
Or if you have good sets. I mean, even the Lord of the Rings films, how they filmed on actual sets, actual, locations.
Right.
Didn't rely on computers as much.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of computer stuff, but not as much.
Yeah.
And, when you see a film that has a lot of computer stuff, you can just really tell the difference. And, I mean, it's just why I don't gravitate to more modern films. I just, I could just tell it's fake, and just doesn't talk to me. But I mean, here, the costumes, everything, always really good. Little details are always really good. Even if it's just some little horse trough or something in the background. It's just, it's gritty, it's dirty, it's good.
I hear you.
When Leon busts out of the house, he runs back to whatever, I don't know where his town is that he works at.
I know they don't really say the town, but evidently it's real close. Like Ted said, the town over. But yeah, he runs back to Christina. I think knowing.
Well, he runs back there, but the Don Gomez, he's being questioned by some of the police.
Right. Yeah.
Because Jose is missing.
Yeah.
Or I think found murdered.
Yeah. Found murdered, and they're investigating. So there's an investigation going on. So that's kind of where it is. But he does run back to Christina. And I think, his thought process is, he's sitting there.
Moon again.
Yeah.
And she comes in to see him, and he tries to chase her out.
Yeah.
Because he feels it coming again. And she ends up staying with him the whole night. And
he finds out he doesn't turn into a werewolf.
Right. Morning comes, he wakes up, and he's like,
Love.
What happened? And says, nothing happened. And, that's what he remembers, the love keeps it away. And he realizes, she's like my medicine.
And that's when he kind of tries to convince her, well, it does convince her, run away with me. Don't ask me questions. I need you to be with me and stuff like that. And this time she says yes, she will. But in the meantime, they're looking for him and actually end up bringing him all his clothes.
Yeah, he gets, Leon is arrested for the murder of Jose, under suspicion of the murder for Jose. He's taken to jail, and, I love that Michael Ripper, classic Hammer extra actor, he's in most of the classic Hammer films.
Yeah.
Plays a drunkard.
He's in the cell with them in the back. Right.
And,
very identifiable.
He realizes, if you keep me in here, I'm going to change. You're not going to be able to stop me. He even tries to bribe the guard to let him out.
Well, he bribes him to go contact his dad, Alfredo, and his aunt. Yeah. So he actually does that. So they come with the priest, to try to help and convince, who is he? The town mayor or whatever you would call him. I don't know.
Yeah, probably a magistrate or something like that.
Tries to convince him that, he is a werewolf.
Right. And of course
and actually does kind of convince him a little bit and takes him to the jail,
The father and the priest come, and Leon is basically begging them to kill him. Kill me before I hurt someone again. And they mention to him that, not the only way we can do it is, you got to be burned alive. And he also remembers the silver.
Yeah.
He remembers the Pepe's silver bullet. And says, if you can get that, you can use that on me. You can shoot with the bullet. And, sure as shit, the full moon's going to come. He's going to start changing. And this is actually where we'll get to see a real good the werewolf transformation.
Well, Christina does run to the jail too, and
Yep, she sees him.
yeah, so there's still a little bit of his wanting that love to cure his tame him or whatever, but I think deep down inside there's a conflict, and he really just wants him to kill him. He just doesn't want to be this kind of creature anymore. You know what I mean? So
there's no guarantees. I mean, this curse is within him, and so when the moon does hit, it does sort of remind me of the universal transformation. You see the hand.
This one a little bit, yeah.
Slowly turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think even in some of the universals, you saw the feet change, and
yeah.
I mean, the acting in the transformation is real good. He rips his shirt. He's yanking on the door. And he actually, when he does bust it loose, he actually just throws it at the guy. And
right.
I did see in some of the extras on the Blu-ray that it was a pretty good sized, heavy door.
Yeah, it was a 200-pound door.
At the guy.
Yeah, I think he popped the guy's hemorrhoids on the ground even when he was.
I think he did actually hurt him, but But yeah, you get the little face, you get the fangs, start getting the pointy ears, and that's when you're waiting almost an hour and a half into the movie before you really do get to see the good,
right.
Full face werewolf. We get to see him a little bit before he goes to jail. He kills one of those sheep guys, one of the sheep herder guys.
Yeah. And when he does transform too, I mean, again, we talked about how much we love the look of the werewolf, but it's kind of more of a dog face, but the
whole body too. Whereas,
right.
Lon Chaney Jr. had a suit on.
Yeah,
his shirt is ripped, and his whole torso and back are like the same gray fur as well. So we get to see a little bit of a different. He is more animalish,
kind of brownish gray, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of a brownish look to him.
Really good prosthetic makeup.
Yeah, very, very, very cool though. Yeah.
I can't recall. Oh gosh, I want to say maybe you can look it up real quick if you've got IMDb in front of you. Roy Ashton, is that? I'm trying to think of the makeup artist guy.
Oh God, I mean, continue talking. I'll look.
Forgive me if I'm getting the name wrong, but he's the man who did the makeup.
Oh, I'm not going to. I can't look for it. Go.
Ashton.
Close enough. Look it up, you guys, if you need to.
All right. You think I'd remember because I watched the extra on the Blu-ray the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of just worked sort of, I don't want to say freelance. He wasn't a Hammer regular, but he had pretty much nonstop work from them.
Mm-hmm.
And this was probably one of his best makes. I mean, he did the Curse of the Frankenstein one and all those other classic ones. So, sometimes he had the money for good effects, sometimes he didn't.
Right.
But you had to have really good werewolf makeup for this. I'd be surprised if they didn't film most of Oliver Reed's scenes as the werewolf in 1 or 2 days. And maybe that's we'll see the werewolf as much as you'd like to.
Yeah.
Because it probably just costs too much money to keep doing that. I mean, I don't know how many hours it takes to put that stuff on.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, definitely well worth it. Like I said, you get one of the better looks of a werewolf, in my honest opinion, even though it was 1961 in this. But yeah, he ends up fully. What?
Still my favorite werewolf makeups.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Still the best.
Yeah. I'd have to think about it. Maybe one of these days we can do a top 10 werewolves in films. That might be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, he does fully transform and ends up just running out and basically the werewolf's loose on the town there and
right.
Everybody's kind of it's the big finale. Kind of everybody's coming and kind of like the townsfolk with pitchforks and stuff and torches. Yeah. Even though there were no pitchforks, but
on fire.
yeah.
Anytime you see bales of hay, one of them's going up in flames.
And this is the thing that I was wondering about, and I'll bring it up now with this, climax, the end of the movie here. With him, he climbs to these tops of the couple of these houses, okay, and basically 2 or 3 houses, he's just climbing back and forth, looking down at the people, like kind of like a a hunchback kind of Quasimodo kind of thing,
Yeah.
where he's looking down at them, just going, oh, just looking, but and going down and up, and I kept waiting, going,
What's going to happen?
is he going to jump off and take off? Because he can do that. There's only like 20 people in this little courtyard, and
I really wanted to show off these sets that they built for this Inquisition movie, because they're really fantastic. And
they are.
It's this scene where it really shows them off. I think, we went to the trouble of building this. We're going to use this shit.
Oh, and they used it. I mean, heck, when he was a werewolf on top of that one building, he where the kind of like the little tower with the bells are, he kind of like worked his way past that twice, and I'm like going, get the hell out of there, man, or you're going to get caught. But I mean, it's
Reed doing all that jumping and climbing.
I know, and it's a movie. I mean, it is what it is, but so it kind of climaxes here up into kind of the bell tower, and you can kind of finish it off if you want.
I mean, the werewolf makeup is really good. The you don't get to see him. Once we get to see him, he's not really doing much except what you said, climbing buildings and hopping from rooftop to rooftop.
I mean, I understand what can they do, but
it's incidental. I really appreciate more Oliver Reed's performance before that happens.
Yeah.
He really. I mean, maybe when we're talking about it, it sounds like, this is kind of a dull movie. You only see the werewolf for the last 10 minutes of the movie.
No.
I mean, that's a Hammer movie, all right?
Right.
And, we grew up as monster kids, and you knew going in, you're only going to get a little tease of the monster here and there, and then you knew the last part of the movie you're going to get full-blown monster action.
Yeah.
And that's just how it was, when I could have been 6 years old, 7 years old watching a Godzilla movie. I knew I'm watching it, but, Godzilla's not going to show up till the end,
Right.
So I'm fine with that. Like I said, there's so many other things to love about a Hammer movie that carries me through. And when we do get to see the makeup, it's just so good. The blood running down his lips, which the censors really didn't like, but I believe those were cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. He's in that bell tower, and the bells start ringing, and his father is climbing up. He's got that silver bullet and the rifle, and he's going to have to be the one to put his own, basically, and not his, his son.
Not his blood son, but yeah, we get it.
Yeah, he's putting his own son down. And just when he shoots him, he does that mad little flip that...
yeah.
Yeah, and you actually see, like, the blood squirt out.
Yeah. In his belly, yeah.
Where the bullet went through.
Right.
It's actually, for a Hammer movie, I know...
It's kind of an intense scene, though, too. I mean, where their eyes do connect, because he's been asking his father to do this for him, to kill him. And you get a real quick glimpse, and it was done very well, where you get, when you feel that emotion and see it, in his eyes, looking down at his father, he's like, he knows he's going to die, and he shoots him, and it's kind of, he falls down and stuff. But yeah,
brutal. You got the squib coming out here. You got the blood in the back.
Yeah.
The monstrous flip flop that he does, and it just kind of covers him up. And like many monster films and like many Hammer films, it sort of just kind of ends abruptly with that. You don't get a chance to find out how the characters do afterwards. It's that's just how movies ended back then. You kill that bad guy.
Oh, jeez. No. Ted took a tumble just like the werewolf did.
Too much passion when I.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
But
yeah,
that's very typical for Hammer and horror films in general to not dwell on the characters too much after that happens.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. It ends with the credits rolling, the big full moon, or not big, but full moon in the background.
Yeah. And
this was one of I think 8 Hammer films that were done in conjunction with Universal Pictures. You can get them all in Blu-ray as a set, but Scream Factory's been putting out some of the best ones as collector's editions, and I've been enjoying those.
Oh yeah.
Some of the better ones were done with Universal. Brides of Dracula and Evil of Frankenstein, which I really like. Phantom of the Opera with Herbert Lom. Kiss of the Vampire is a pretty cool one. So Probably top 5 Hammer movie for me.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, yeah, it's up there, man. Top 2 or 3. I mean, I haven't seen as many as you have, but I've seen some of the better ones that you've recommended.
As far as the horror films, I've seen them all.
Yeah.
I haven't seen every movie that Hammer produced because they're not all gothic horror films.
No, right.
Some of their horror films are not the gothic style. Some of them are just more modern day, psychological kind of thrillers that were popular in the 70s.
Yep.
They're okay to watch once, but if it wasn't a Hammer movie or if it didn't have Peter Cushing or somebody, I probably wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
But these, this collection, these what they call the gothic horror films are. I've seen all those, and I think I own all of them.
Yeah. No, I mean, yes. So this is, I mean, big thumbs up for me, man. I love this movie. Unbelievable. I mean,
cool.
Yeah.
And it's one of the better werewolf movies as well. And I like werewolf movies. I'll watch almost any werewolf movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I like them more than vampire movies. I think those are played out.
Right.
I'd like to see some more, werewolf movies.
I hear you. We are going to surprise you with another good 80s flick next week we're going to do, so this should be nice and fun. I won't mention it. We'll surprise them.
All right.
But yeah, no.
Anything unforeseen, I'll be back in the studio because social distancing be damned. We're sick and tired of it. Nobody we know is sick.
Yes, he will be right here next week. So hopefully. So so yeah, I mean, getting back at this. This was fun. This was a fun one. Time flew by talking about this today, man.
Absolutely.
So yeah, until we see you guys next week with a nice surprise. Enjoy this and make sure you like and share. And if this is first time being here, subscribe. Check out all the links below, and we will see them next week, right, Ted?
Yep.
Later, guys.